Okay. Good morning, Lord Mayor. My name is Morenike Amosu. Yeah, and I'm excited to be here with you this morning. Today we'll be talking about Ponzi schemes, and I really want to ask, what do you think about Ponzi schemes?
Hi, Morenike. Morning. It's a beautiful morning today. Yeah, it's quite exciting because when people talk about Ponzi scheme, it's one of those things where the moment you hear Ponzi, you know it's fraud. The
Yeah.
moment you hear Ponzi, there is a popular word which used to be popular in Nigeria. Then we call it 419. Then after a
Yeah.
while they started calling it 19 to make it posh. You see that guy is a
Ah,
19 guy. When you hear that guy is a 19 guy, they're telling you that guy is a posh fraudster. Then now they call them Yahoo. Then they now call them Yahoo Plus, whatever they call them, whatever name is it. But to start with, Ponzi itself is actually it's the name of a person. It's actually a
mm,
noun that people have turned around. It's a name of a guy called Charles Ponzi back in, I think, 1919, thereabout. He's one of those people that actually made history in terms of back then. That was why his last name became what we're now referring to as Ponzi scheme. And when we talk about Ponzi scheme, we're talking about a pyramid scheme, basically. And what is a Ponzi or a pyramid scheme, whichever one you want to talk about it? Basically, it's a scheme whereby you know what a pyramid looks like. It's like a triangle. It's a scheme whereby
yeah.
when it starts, money from the original investors, they take that, and what they do there is they promise you high returns with very low risk. And most of the time, the money is not being invested in anything at all. And in our
Mhm.
generation, one of the greatest Ponzi scheme we can hear of, I'm sure you know him, is called Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff, in the course of 20 years, actually, scam people out of close to $50 billion.
Wow.
So in the next 50 years, we're not going to hear Ponzi scheme anymore. We're going to be hearing Madoff scheme or Bernie scheme, something like that. So and what they use there is at the bottom of the pyramid are the beginners, and then people who come in next, they take their money as profit
Yeah.
for people underneath. So it's called the house of cards. So when new people come in, they use their money to pay the people at the bottom as their returns. So it keeps going on until there was one that happened in Nigeria, then they call it the MMM, which was popular a
Yeah.
few years ago, whereby
There are many
anything
strategies.
exactly any investments that don't have any basics, that means the money being taken from you, it's not being invested in nothing. It's one of those things where it is just a fraud. The whole concept about it is to defraud you. It's not a business gone wrong. There's a difference between an investment gone wrong and whereby it's been set up to actually defraud. So that's where the differences are. And these days it's very, very hard for you to know which is which. Because it's
Because even very curious, and I can't miss that class for anything because I see some scams appearing legit. It looks to so people could say, oh, it's palm oil or whatever, and they could say to you, oh, we just want to be able to buy more, which just makes legitimate sense. And if you buy more, there's this market in East Africa or wherever, and it sounds legitimate. So as against this part that says it is them not doing anything, you actually see people who make their money back, who in the first initial they make their money back. So I knew of I was privy to a certain supposed Ponzi scheme where it was thought to be greed. That happens regularly too.
yep.
This person takes investors, this person keeps it open ended. This person does not know at what time. I could have a pool of 100 investors just making this my cash flow, just robust. And so at what time do I decide we truly have had enough Mayowa and we can't do this no more? And so it looks to me like occasionally you see someone who says, oh, funds are needed in Nigeria, sun is a basic and everybody needs funds. People need the outside ones. And so we begin to call on investors, and half the time, even clout begins to come in. So we've now seen people who, for some reason, had been on the straight way. People they actually leverage their networks, and then pronto they disappear. And I'm sure that you and I know a few people who have. I'll leave it.
I totally understand. And do you know what you just said now, Morenike? It's still going to take me back to Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff started off as a legitimate investors in Wall Street. He's made his name doing in the penny stocks. So he's not a guy that's just come from nowhere. You know, he's a guy who is made his firm. He was quite legitimate. He had money, you know, in terms of he had his few little millions when he started, but he got to a point whereby, and that's the dangerous part is, when does a legitimate investment or investor become a fraudster? How can you tell? That is the knife edge in terms of at what point is something that seems to be working well becomes a Ponzi scheme. What are the tell signs? And one thing that I know is very, very, which people don't pay attention to, is there is always going to be a few people that will be very skeptical about it. There are few individuals, because when the case of Benny Madoff happened, there were 2 or 3 people who were making noise and saying his maths is not adding up. Something is not right here. And it's just like when you invested somewhere and the first thing there is, what is my money? I think
that happens too, where you're thinking.
Yeah, go ahead, Morenike. I think we're having connectivity issues. Like I was saying.
Does this work this way? Okay, I kind of lost you there.
Yeah, I think I lost you there a little while. Probably connectivity, probably your end or my end. Yeah, what we're saying there is in terms of talking about at what point does a legitimate, you know, business person or an investor started running Ponzi scheme? Because one thing about Ponzi scheme is there are 2 factors there. One of them is trust, and one of them is greed. And when you mix trust from one side and mix greed on the other side, there are possibilities that one of them will take advantage of one. And most of the time, the greed would mostly take advantage of the trust from the other side. And whereby people come to you and say, oh, there is
advantage of the greed in our climb. Like they just tell you, you first drop 50,000, then by the 6 weeks and with your 2 people, you make $1 million. By the next cashing out, you're making 63 million. Hello.
Well, it depends on who is telling you. That is why it's everybody will tell you, I will never fall victim of that. But do you know the people that Benny Madoff swindled out of billions? These are smart people. You don't have such resources if you're not intelligent. These are guys that went to Yale, Harvard, and all of these schools. So it's a matter of, if you've been outsmarted by somebody, it's looking for the bigger fool, and it's easy for us to say no, that will not work on me. But when we come to think about it, one way or the other, we're falling short of something not completely Ponzi scheme like, but something a little bit close like. You know that even in relationships, how many times have you dated a guy that doesn't appear to be who he said he was? Or how many times has a guy dated the girl who eventually is not who he thought she was? That means when there is misrepresentation.
Sir, I'll take that again. Does guts play a part in this, or it's just these are the appearances of Ponzi? Once you look out for it, you know, like I'm looking forward to checklists, for instance, this evening, and I know I probably will be getting some from you, but I'm saying, could there be anything like gut feeling? You know, because even legitimate investors say things like, oh, if only I'd listened to, I was listening to somebody on one of our platforms say to us that there was that tiny voice that I could have listened to that was talking to Tesla. Yeah. And, you know, I chose this other voice, and now my investments are just dancing, you know, and it's just funny, which is why I said, do you think that intuition plays a part in a part to this? In which case I would say, should we listen to a certain gender more? Should we listen to another gender more? Are some people less emotional about these things?
I think I wouldn't really go down the line that it's got to be about gender. But one thing I know very well, in every individual, be it religious or not religious, because we call it different things. Some people, what they call guts, someone else would call it instinct. What they call instinct, someone else would call the nudging of the spirit. But there is, when something is not right, there is something in you that picks it up. It's like you're receptive. And I would say this, it's not about being gender now. Women are more, women pick up signals quicker than men in most cases.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down the line, but women do pick up signals. And the reason is because women are more attentive. Women are, they're multidimensional in their approach. They can be a wife, they could be a mother, they could be a sister, they could be a boss. So the widespread, they pay attention. They want to know what is going on around. And within that, they pick up signals. And just like a mother will know that something is not right with my child, even if the child is not there, they do. And some men do as well. So I wouldn't say it's per se gender, but I would say you've got to look for the signs. If I'm investing in something, I want to understand, what am I investing in? It's just like if I'm investing in Amazon, I know what Amazon does.
Yeah.
If I'm investing in Facebook, I know what Facebook is all about. If I'm investing in Google, I know what is bringing Google the profit. If I'm investing in a stock, I want to know the fundamentals of that investment. If I'm investing in an agro investment, I want to know what are the fundamentals. You're telling me you have a fishery. Show me your farm. Let me see the fishes. Those are the little tell signs. And when you ask more questions and you're getting little answers, there are no magical secrets, gathering somewhere where they say, don't worry about it. We can't really tell you the secret of the trade and things like that. No, to me, when people start going down the line, then I know there's something shady not there.
So inquisitive is a big part of how we uncover as in veiled Ponzi schemes.
It's one of the things. It's one of the things. Anytime you put in your money down, you put in your life down, because you've used your energy and your life to get your money. So if I'm going to give you my money, I've got to know, what is it my money is going to do with you? What are you using it for? You can't just say, oh, I trust. In business, I don't bring religion and trust into business. Business is based on principles. If we're going to go in business, Morenike, I know you, things like that, but sister, we still got to sign the contract. And if you give me a contract, my lawyer is still going to read it. Not because I don't trust you. There's this film which says, probably you've seen the film. He said, oh, the lady said, you know what? I trust people, but it's the devil in people I don't trust. I trust people, but everybody, is exposed to that thing when it happens. So it's not like I don't trust you, but when that happens to you, let me make sure I'm covered. That is what it is. Don't just say because somebody said. Like now, everybody's investing in crypto. Everybody's gone crypto crazy. But the question is, call somebody and ask them, why are you investing in crypto? What are the fundamentals of crypto? What is crypto? It's just being wary of why you're doing something, the fundamentals. Those are the things that guide you to make sure that, okay,
why, yeah.
You got to know the why. Where's your money? What's your money going into? And listen to your instincts. 9 out of 10 times, they're right.
Mm-hmm. This looks like it's going to be one interesting conversation tonight, and I cannot wait to bring up all my questions, because trust me, I've got enough.
All right. Then I can't wait to get on tonight then, because there's so much to say about Ponzi pyramid schemes, and there are so many examples that we could bring in. But just going back to the basics of what it is number one, it's a scam. Number two, it's an attempt to defraud you of using new members' money to pay the existing members. That is to pay their profit. That is all they're doing. So it will only fall when there are no more new members coming in, or when the existing members say, you know what, we don't just want our returns, we want the capital. Benny Madoff did this for 20 years. So now tell me, if a guy invested and paid you the high returns that the market is not paying for 10, 15 years, why would you doubt him?
I'm an evangelist, so to say.
So that's why you've got to, we shouldn't just base the trust based on, my returns are coming. I know my returns are coming, but where is that return coming from? Mm-hmm. That is the key question. What are the fundamentals of these secret investments that you're doing where my 1,000 has become 1 million under 5 days. Don't just tell me it's one thing complicating and this. No. Even if you're saying you're putting it in crypto, tell me which coins you're putting it into. So I will understand, I'll go and read up on it. We should not just trust people with money. Transact business when it comes to money. Let's trust has to be earned. And you have to continue to check in. You've got to continue to check in. You cannot just say, because something happened once, you don't keep. I think if the investors with Benny Madoff had kept on checking on and say, you know what, I've invested 500 million with you. I know you pay me the returns. I know, but can you still tell me what exactly is my 500 million doing? It made billionaires to become broke overnight. Some of them committed suicide. So in a nutshell, let's continue this tonight, at the Telegram, and I'm sure there'll be so much questions from everybody. And I'd like to know a lot of people's what's their definition of Ponzi scheme in terms of what signs do they have, your personal experience and things like that. I'm sure there'll be so many stories there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lord Mayor. This has been such an interesting opener, right?
All right, Morenike.
Right.
Continue this tonight on Telegram. Then okay, see you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.